So if we can find a parking space, we're going to the Orchid Show. Hello and welcome to the Orchid Hut. My name is Dana and thank you for taking some of your time today to watch one of my orchid videos. This is going to just be a little brief introductory segment to the Orchid Show that I went to over the weekend, well, on Saturday afternoon. And I'm just giving you a view of the orchids growing in my bay window area, just for something nice to look at while I give a little introduction to the Orchid Show. My husband and I had planned to spend the entire Saturday afternoon at the Orchid Show, and we fought a ton of traffic. We had to jockey for a parking space. And we got inside to the Orchid Show, and I have to tell you, it was a really, really sort of mixed experience. There were many gorgeous orchids on display. Many of them had won certain prizes after having been judged. I did take some still photos of my favorite orchids. But I have to tell you, they missed the boat entirely when it came to preparing for the retail part of the show. There was one vendor there selling who I purchased from locally in the Houston area. But of course, everything on their display tables were in bloom, the most pristine orchids that they had in their shop. Of course, I think the prices were the tiniest bit marked up because of that. And because I shop locally at their storefront, their brick and mortar store, I kind of know that I can get many of those orchids out of bloom for less than half price. So I really wasn't going to shop from that part of the show. There was another vendor there who I think was selling very, very questionable orchids. Many that were just broken off leaves, didn't have any roots, and were marked with a $50 price tag. Well, I'm not sure if they sold anything, but I wasn't going to buy that. They also had what looked like some, I would say, broken off maybe like cymbidium leaves. The bottom half of the plant was wrapped in paper, so you could not see if there was a root system or not. And so I'm not exactly sure who's going to pay $30 or $40 for about 25 what looked like orchid leaves when you couldn't see the rest of the plant. So, and then their selection beyond that was very, very slim. There was another retail table where it looked like a vendor just didn't even show up. So, if you went to the show to just look at the orchids on display, that part was a very positive experience. If you went there to shop, you were going to be very disappointed. And I was actually one of the people who intended to shop, but, just did not just didn't find anything because of how the situation was. So they missed the boat on the retail side altogether. So because I couldn't purchase anything, after the show, we took a little bit of a journey further down the freeway to go visit some of the nurseries in the Houston Heights area where I know they sell really good orchids. And I bought a few there, and that will be coming up in a future video. And the entire trip was, maybe like about 65 miles from start to finish. It was just an exhausting trip though, because there was a lot of traffic to fight, parking spaces to fight, crowds of people to fight. And even though we only spent like maybe 20 or 30 minutes at the actual orchid show, just came home absolutely exhausted. And I have to say, the heat the last few days has been totally out of control for the early part of May. You know, I think it was on Saturday afternoon, it was up to maybe like 96 degrees Fahrenheit. Very humid, very hot, hazy day. So, you know, not the best of experiences, but I do hope that you will enjoy the couple of clips from the orchid show, as well as the still photos of the orchids. And so enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and talk to you next time.
Is that a Phalaenopsis at Whiteman? Yes, they look so troubled. Yeah, that's how I spot it.